debaters, so I just wanted to start with a quick introduction. My name's Jaden. I graduated with the class of 2020. So for you sophomores, juniors, and seniors, you might have seen me around, might have worked with me on something. I was involved in a lot at West. And welcome to this video on how a round works. So this is a really important video to watch. You definitely need to watch it before you go into your first round because it's really going to help you figure things out. Forgive me in advance, I'm using a note card just to make sure I talk about everything you guys are gonna need to know. This is kind of second nature to me now, and I will leave things out if I don't have this note card, so forgive me if I look down. So how a round is gonna start, when you go to a tournament, you never enter the room unless your judge is in the room. So if you get to your room that you're debating in before your judge is there, just wait out in the hall. It's the polite thing to do. They really like it. If you enter the room beforehand, I don't think anyone would attack you for it, but I do think that it just doesn't look good. You need to wait for your judge because they're the authority figure of the round. So that's really important. When you go in, a good question to ask, your opponent would probably ask it too, is do you have any paradigms? Which means, does the judge have anything they like or don't like to come out of a round? Is there anything they don't allow? You know, anything like that. Sometimes you can find them on tab room beforehand, but sometimes you can't. So it's always best to ask. And then another thing you want to ask is, do you prefer what side the Aft and Neg are on? Some judges are like, I want the Aft on the right, Neg on the left. Some are vice versa. Some don't care. So it's just best to ask them so that way you know, and so that way, you know, it's easiest for the judge because you really want to make sure that they have an easy time understanding what's going on because that gives you a better chance at winning the debate. So the first thing that happens debate-wise is you will hear the Aft Constructive. This is a 6-minute speech. The Aft will stand up. Before every speech, it's best to ask, is everyone ready? Or, judge, are you ready? Opponent, are you ready? Then let's begin. And you go ahead and start. It's just a courteous thing to do to make sure everyone's ready so that way no one's left out of something you're talking about. So the first thing that's going to happen is called the Aft Constructive, the Aft case. It's 6 minutes long and it's just the Aft stating their case. There's no argument. It's just them saying what their side of the case is. After that, there's going to be the first of 2 cross-examinations or cross-ex. They're 3 minutes long, and this first one, the Neg, is asking the Aft questions about their case. So after that cross-ex, the Neg Constructive / first rebuttal. So what the Neg is gonna do, they're gonna state their case. It's 7 minutes long. They're gonna say their case, and then they also have to use that time to refute the Aft's case and the answers to their questions. We typically recommend a 3-4 split, meaning 3 minutes for one, 4 minutes for the other. It can be done either way. 4 minutes of case, 3 minutes of rebuttal, or you can do 3 minutes of case, 4 minutes of rebuttal, whatever is best for that case. You don't have to do a 4-3 split, but it's typically what we recommend. So then after that, there's the second cross-ex. It's the exact same as the first one, 3 minutes long, only the Aft is asking Neg questions about their previous speech. So it's the same rules. You can ask any question. If you don't understand, ask for a repeat or to reword it, whatever you need, but it's the exact same. So then after that, it's the first Aft rebuttal. It's 4 minutes long, so it's a little shorter, and you just refute the Neg. This is the last chance for the Aft to provide new facts and new evidence. You can pull cards, which there will be a video on later discussing exactly what a card is, but this is your last chance to pull new cards because it's the last chance for the Neg to respond to it and their next speech, which is the Neg Rebuttal. It's 6 minutes long because it's their last chance to speak and they just refute the Aft. This is their last chance to respond to you. That if you're the Aft, if you're the Neg, it's your last chance to respond to the new evidence. So this is really your last chance to also present some of your new evidence that you have. That if you have cards that go against what they just pulled on you, this is your time to pull them. But that's your last time to do it. And you have 6 minutes. This speech sounds like it's long, but it's going to go fast. That's just how it is. It's the nature of that speech. You have so much to talk about that 6 minutes really isn't enough. So you really need to plan out what's most important, because you really need to hit the super important things. But if there's something that's like not as important, it's okay if you let it slip out when you run out of time, you know? But you don't want to miss something that's extremely important. Like if they didn't attack your value at all, that's important, and you need to make sure that gets said. You don't need to wait and then, oops, I ran out of time and they didn't say anything about my value, but I didn't get to say anything about it. Because then in the Aft's next speech, they can say, they conceded that their value does not work, and then it can be a whole mess. So make sure you touch on the most important stuff first. Finally, the last speech is the last Aft rebuttal. It's 3 minutes long, it's extremely short, the time will go by incredibly fast. It's the same thing as the previous rebuttal, you just need to refute the neg. Most people don't try and argue anything at that point. They really turn to voter issues, which I don't know if they'll be mentioned in another video. So basically what they are is what the judge should be weighing the round on. The most typical one that I've heard is framework. If you don't win the round on your framework, which is your value criterion, and contentions, if you don't win on that, you don't win the round. So that's very important, and it's a basic voter issue that you can always turn to. Again, you have 3 minutes for that speech, so it's short, and you need to make sure that you get to the point and explain to the judge why you win. And then it's done. The round is over. But there's one more thing I need to tell you. So there's this thing called prep time. It's a godsend. You're gonna love it. You get 4 minutes throughout the entire round to just use as you will. If you are the Aft, the rules are different for both, so I will explain. So if you are the Aft in your round, you can take prep time after the cross-ex that you are asking the neg questions. That's when you can start taking prep time. And you can split it up between your rebuttals. You can spend 2 minutes and 2 minutes, 3 minutes and 1 minute. You can save all the time for one. It's totally up to you how you use it. You just can't use it until after your cross-ex. For the neg, if you are the neg in a round, you can take your first prep time after the first cross-ex that the neg is asking the Aft questions. And it's just to give you time to prep your next speech, because your rebuttals aren't prepared in advance. So you are gonna want just a minute or two to sit down and write your responses. My recommendation for prep time for Aft, I typically do 3-1 or 2-2. My first speech, I usually give the 3 minutes just because it's very beneficial, because you need to say stuff in that speech and you need to say a lot. And then your last one, you don't need as much time because it's so short. But sometimes I've used 2 and 2 if there's like a lot that I need to handle in both speeches. And if you're neg, I really highly recommend after your first cross-ex, I highly recommend only using like a minute or a minute and a half, because for that 6-minute speech, I said how important it was. You're going to want as much prep time as you can get. So definitely take prep time as the neg before, so your first rebuttal is good, but make sure you save quite a bit of time for your next speech, because that's going to be really important and there's going to be a lot of stuff you're going to want to cover. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it answered all of your questions. And if you still are left with some questions, I'm sure they'll be addressed in later videos, because a lot of how a round works kind of just plays out with your cases. So I hope this was helpful. I wish you luck in your first rounds, and every round you go into. You guys are going to do amazing, and good luck.